Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be unboxing the Mungyo Gallery Oil Pastels. And this is not a sponsored video. So I did purchase these oil pastels myself. And what I wanted to do was just to try to find like a lower priced oil pastel that was affordable, that I could refer to my students and people who maybe want to try out oil pastel and don't want to spend a whole lot of money but still get a quality product that they could use and, you know, experiment with. So I love oil pastels and I do use them in my own studio and I absolutely love them. So we're going to open it up, then I'm going to do a little swatching and blending, and then I'm going to do a little demo of a floral stilt life. And so I think we're just going to jump into that and I will meet you inside. Okay, so I'm going to get right into this and just get this guy open. And let's see, let's get this figured out here. I'm going to try not to be an animal while I rip this box open. So I have a fairly nice set here. I got 72 colors, which is, I need to always have a lot of colors. I can't, I'm a big baby about having all the colors. And okay. Ooh. All right, so we have quite an array here of colors. I like when you get more than one white because I do use white as a blender. Although, being an oil pastel addict, I also have, I do also have some wax blenders, which are just the plain wax that you can blend the oil pastels with. So we have a white and an off-white. Okay, so let's get, I'm going to swatch a little bit here. I'm going to just see, maybe I'll take out some of these greens. So they're pretty creamy, which I like, and they seem to be pretty opaque. Let's see. Let's see how they blend here. If I add a little white in here, get some blending going. So I actually like how they blend. They're not super creamy, like they're not too creamy, but they're not like those really hard, chalky ones that you sometimes get that are inexpensive ones. You can layer over a dark color without an issue, and I like how opaque they are, and I like the coverage so far. Let's see some of the lighter colors. Let's try something that lavender, which sometimes these really pale colors don't really layer very well, or if you're going to have a problem, it would be in some of these colors. So let's see. These seem to... No, these colors seem to layer really nicely too. Let's see. So I'm gonna get some of this off. I see that I'm gonna need my baby wipes to keep these clean. Very nice. So I think these are gonna be really fun to play with. I like the creaminess and like the fact that they're not too creamy. Put the yellow next to it. I really like the variety of colors that's in this set. And of course, when I'm done making this video, I will link in the description box to the price of this set of oil pastels. And so I think what I'm going to do next is just on the side here, I'm just going to do a quick little, I'm going to do just a quickie right here. Just a quick little sketch and see how a quick little sketch on white paper will look. So what I found when I was working on this little sketch was that I did like the way they were layering and blending. I like them very much. The one thing I did notice, though, that I did not like was that I found that there was a lot of crumbs. Now, crumbs kind of concern me a little bit when I'm working with oil pastel, just because they're very hard to get rid of. And there are a couple things I do if I'm, because I have some inexpensive ones at my art studio. Like I have a studio at home, and I have another studio that I run with a friend, a very dear friend of mine that's also a teaching artist, and we teach classes out of that studio. So we have a rented studio space that we have together, and we have you know, adult students and children that come to us for classes. So I have some inexpensive oil pastels there. So the crumbs bug me because you can't really get them off of the paintings without smudging them. And that's the other reason I'm always looking for products that are reasonably priced, that work better for my students, and that I can recommend for parents to buy for their children to use at home, and for people who may want to try a new medium but don't want to spend a ton of money. So sometimes I recommend, you know, maybe having a brush, like a paintbrush, like an old fan brush sometimes will help get those off your painting. But, you know, there's not really a perfect solution for this stuff. Yeah, and so there's different things that I do to troubleshoot some of this stuff. But I did like the way these layered, and they're very opaque, which I also loved. And they are pretty creamy without being sticky, which I liked very much. And so I did do a little study here, very small, very super small little quick study. And yeah, because I just wanted to do something fast on the white paper, because I'm going to do a bigger one on a toned paper. And you'll see that in a few moments. I'm going to do that one as soon as I'm done here. Just doing this really little, you know, just little quick one here. Yeah, so here I'm just finishing up, and then I'm trying to hold this up so that you can see the crumbs, and I'm trying to brush them off and bang them off. And yeah, the crumbs are distressing because, you know, you don't want them on there. You don't want to spray fixative on them because then they're stuck to the painting. So you have to be really careful about getting them off with like a little brush or something, and you want to use a soft fan brush if you have one that you've dedicated to this purpose. And I clean mine off with a baby wipe, you know, just to pull off some of the color. If it gets color on it, you have to be a little careful. And here I have the toned background on a 9 by 12-inch piece of watercolor paper. Same watercolor paper that I used before. Only what I had done was I put a light wash of magenta paint. And now I'm just gonna, and then I did a light colored pencil drawing. A lot of times I'll draw with colored pencil in a pale shade on a watercolor painting, and it kind of just disappears. And so pale blue or pale pink a lot of times will just completely disappear. If you're doing a pastel drawing or a watercolor painting on your page, you can draw with like that's a watercolorist trick, is to draw with pale pink or pale blue, and it will just kind of fade into the background when you're doing a watercolor painting or any kind of painting on paper. I don't tend to mind the graphite lines, but if I don't want to smudge into my painting, or if I don't want them to show, I will use colored pencil instead. So that's a little tip for you. And yeah, so I'm just going to do a little still life painting here. And I had pre-drawn, flowers in a vase, just kind of a very simple bouquet and a little vase on table. And yeah, I'm just going to try out these colors and get in there. And I really like working on a toned surface, so I do this in my sketchbooks with the leftover paint on my palette very often. But I also do it when I'm doing canvas paintings. I will tone the background. It gets you over the white page, but also it can peek through in parts of the painting, which I really like. And so that's why I do it. I'm just in the habit of doing it. So I do really like it. So I discovered that what I thought was two whites was actually a white and the palest of pale grays, which was a very cool color rather than just the white. So it only comes with one white. Now, I always like to have extra white, and because I like to blend with white. So I'm going to look when I go to link in the description to see if they have, because a lot of brands offer like a little box of white. You could buy like a box of 4 whites. I know that Sennileir has a box where you can buy like 4 white, because I always need extra white. And that I think is an important thing, because it really, a lot of people blend with white. Or I also buy wax blenders, which are just colorless wax, oil wax blenders. So it's like a pigmentless oil pastel. Those are also nice to have. So I'm going to see if they have either of those things. And if they do, I'm going to link in the description box and let you know that they have those. You will see me using a variety of colors when I'm doing an oil pastel painting. So I'm not going to use, one color of pink for every flower, or I will use a variety of different greens in the leaves, and a variety throughout the painting. Pastels are always considered a painting. Chalk pastels and oil pastels are considered a painting and not a drawing. So you'll see me using a variety of different hues of the same color, because it gives more variety, and it's just it's more interesting to your eye, and I try to mix up my values and my the different hues of the same color, and it's just more interesting that way, I think. And I'm adding the white and the lighter colors just because I'm, you know, using some of those lighter colors to blend. Just how I do it. I did not pull out my wax blenders because I'm just trying to use this product as if I had only had these and I just purchased this brand and I had no other oil pastels or oil pastel products, and what would my painting come out like if I just had these and nothing else, because I'm testing this product, you know. If I started breaking out everything else in my toolkit, it wouldn't really be a fair assessment of this particular product. So I'm trying to stick with just what's in the box. I do like them. I think that they were really creamy, and I liked how opaque they were and how much coverage I got with very little effort. I mean, they seem to go a long way. They're not hard to cover up, and I liked that the lighter colors would go right over a darker color. Now that's, you know, kind of a true test of whether or not a product is good, because a lot of times when you have the less pigmented ones, you cannot go over a dark color with a lighter color, which, you know, these certainly did not have that issue. These definitely had nice coverage. Even with the lighter tones over a darker tone, you could go right over them. So yeah, that was a plus for these. So what I'm doing here is I'm going in and I'm redrawing some of what I had drawn in with the colored pencil. And the reason I have to do this sometimes when I'm working with something like oil pastel is that the pencil drawing is really just a guideline to get me started. Because the scale of the tool is so different, things are going to have to be edited. So, like, that's the other reason I really like working with a colored pencil or something that's not going to smudge, especially when we're working with something like oil pastels. The colored pencil doesn't move much, and the scale of working with a colored pencil is finer. So when you go in with a bold tool like a oil pastel, it's going to be a bigger mark. It's a bigger mark making tool, so things are going to have to be readjusted. And so, you know, there's going to be some editing that you're going to need to do. It's not going to show when you're doing that and redrawing over it. But if you were to do it with a really soft pencil or soft graphite, it's gonna smudge, and it can make a big mess on your paper, and you'll get really frustrated by that. So just knowing about using like regular colored pencil, not watercolor pencil or anything like that. You want to use just a plain colored pencil, not the watercolor variety. That can keep that from happening, and it's just a good practice to get into. It's also really great under a watercolor, and you can use the paler colors like a pale pink or a pale blue, and it will all but disappear under your picture. I mean, there are some people who do really like to use graphite and don't mind the graphite marks, but you do have to be careful that you don't smudge them, especially when you're working with something like oil pastel, because it does tend to make things move because of the oil component. So lately I've been obsessed with doing really, really dark backgrounds. And so I've chosen not black, but a very, very deep blue here. It's almost black. And I've been having fun doing these on a lot of my paintings, and it's unexpected, I guess, and that's what I like about it. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just going through. I'm going to do the entire background this way, and it's going to look really cool. I promise. It is kind of a pain to put them in, but you know, when you're done, especially because you have to go around all this stuff, it's just a little daunting, but worth it in the end, I promise. So I actually ended up really liking these oil pastels. For whatever reason, the painted background had far less crumbs, and I can't understand what the difference was on this background. There was less crumbs. There's still a few crumbs, but not a lot of crumbs. Like when I did it on the plain paper, it's the exact same paper. So this one just had a light wash of watercolor. And why I tone backgrounds a lot of times is because you can see like little parts of it poking out in the background, and I really like the way that looks. I like the way it looks in a painting. I like the way it looks with a pastel painting. I kind of, there's different colors I like to use. I like to use pink. I like to use aqua. There's certain colors of blue, and like in acrylic paint, I like nickel azo gold. Sometimes I use that color. So I ended up really liking how creamy they were and how fast they were. They built up layers, and they also are very opaque, and they cover very well, and they blend very nicely. So I would give these a thumbs up, and I would definitely recommend them to somebody who hasn't used oil pastels before as a good, like, you know, moderately priced oil pastel. Now, I use Sennilier Oil Pastel Fixative for my oil pastels. I never use this inside the house or studio. I never use it in my studio. I go outside on a nice warm day or a sunshiny day, and I spray it outside. I take a really deep breath, I spray, and I exhale as I'm running away because it's really toxic. I don't like anything like this. I never, unless you have a spray booth, a professional spray booth, and that's a booth that it's like it's kind of like a downdraft, you know, that you would have on your stove, and it just inhales all the bad fumes, and it sucks it out and, you know, puts it to the outdoors. Unless you have a spray booth, you can't use this inside a dwelling place or inside your workspace. So you have to be really careful with anything like this. Workable fixative, permanent fixative, anything like that. Do not spray it inside because it's very bad for your lungs. So I do this outside. But it is a really nice fixative. It leaves a really nice finish, and it won't smudge anymore. I usually do 2 coats. I let one dry completely, and then I do another one. And I don't even bring it back in until, you know, for several hours. I leave it outside. So you want to do that on a nice day. Don't, if it's might rain, you don't want to do it, or, you know, you just want to make sure you're going to have nice weather. So this is the one that I do, that I like to buy. It's beautiful stuff. So that being said, I just wanted to recommend that, and I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please like, share, and subscribe, because it really does help me grow this channel, and I really appreciate it. Please come again soon, and I will see you on the next video.